Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Isaiah and today we are not really going to talk about much. I am currently watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but that requires energy and I have none because earlier today I replied to a text from a friend of sorts about a dog grooming incident that I am inadvertently part of from December 2020, so a year ago. Basically, this person that I worked for was a very shady business owner, and she frequently lied to everybody around her, including myself. Was very, very opaque and uncommunicative, and has been actively sabotaging this other person since she left. So I can't get too into it right now, but I can talk a bit about one of these other horrible people that I've met in dog grooming. And it's an interesting story and a bit of a short one, so here goes. I was a baby groomer at the time. I had just finished training at PetSmart because, yes, I'm a corporate trained dog groomer. And it was September of 2017. September 2017. I nicked a dog's ear, a schnauzer, who was very sweet. The owner was very nice and understanding. But because of how I handled it, I ended up getting in massive trouble. And there was like an entire background check, all this sort of shit, to see if PetSmart would still have me as a groomer. During that time, I was still on the clock, but I wasn't allowed to groom. And we hired someone new. Um, for the sake of the story, I'll call her Amy. Amy was an older groomer. She had her own shop at one point, etc., etc., etc. And she was looking for a job to do while she was going back to school for a computer science degree. Because I was more or less on suspension when she first started, I offered to let her use my things. And she ended up asking me why I wasn't grooming. Of course, it was pretty obvious that I wasn't doing anything, so I told her, and this was the first real conversation we had. The conversation ended up with, well, you should probably start looking for other jobs. And I was like, cool, okay, great opener. I was able to end up working. I was supposed to sign a first and final and never did, but I took that shit seriously anyway. And part of the corporate grooming business at PetSmart is if something is wrong in the salon, it's like a general problem, like say there's a dog being kennel dried that's not supposed to be kennel dried. A kennel dryer is just a tube that there's a dryer and it blows lukewarm air, like ambient air temperature air rather, and it blows it into the kennel. That is really good for dogs that are more nervous about the velocity dryer, which is the one where you see all the husky videos, the hair going everywhere. So there are certain breeds and certain conditions that we do not use that on, specifically any dogs that are known to have breathing issues or senior pets. And if something like that or a lack of water in the kennel happens and a manager notices, the entire salon gets written up, and me, with a first and final, I would get fired. So I took it very seriously. Now, Amy, she didn't agree with corporate rules. And some of them were very simple, like don't put your tools on the table. Don't put a dog in a kennel dryer that's not supposed to be kennel dried. All that fun sort of stuff. So I would go and I would try and talk to her first and be like, hey, I can go ahead and take the kennel dryer off this dog. It's not supposed to be kennel dried. And she'd snap at me, tell me to handle my own dogs. So I would speak with the manager and they're like, just go ahead and fix it. Don't talk to her about it because she's obviously not handling this correctly. So I would do that. And then she figured out that it was me who was doing it, and she would snap at me. Or she would put two of the kennel dryers on one dog and I would take one off or someone else would take one off because they needed the kennel dryer, and we're also only supposed to have one of the tubes per door, and then she would blame me, even if I didn't do it. In addition to all of this, I often closed with her, and she would refuse to do any of the closing routine, which is to vacuum, sweep, dust, because dog hair gets everywhere. We want to keep it at least semi-sanitary, that sort of thing. Frequently, she would use her daughter as an excuse to get out as soon as possible because she was a single parent. So she was not much of a team player, and that became even more evident when we realized that we didn't have as many dogs as normal, and it was because she was booking herself all the dogs. But what was really funny is she wasn't even that great of a groomer. We constantly had people coming in with complaints. She would work on dogs when they were still wet, and PetSmart's policy is that the dog needs to be completely dried out before they're groomed, that sort of thing. Because unlike with people, the way that I was taught how to groom dogs was to groom them dry. Whereas, if you go to a hairstylist, they like to basically turn your head into a post-shower situation. So she was not only refusing to clean, not only refusing to follow the rules, not only booking herself all of the dogs, and including lying to regular requests. Nettle, I'm not talking about you. I guess because I'm talking about dog grooming, she wants to be part of things now. Is that it? Do you want to be part of the conversation? No, you just want to lay down here and lick my face, apparently? Apologies. She's being a little needy. I guess she knows I'm not in the best mood right now. But Amy just she was not a good groomer. And there was extra drama stuff going on in the salon because the salon manager that I was hired under ended up being promoted to a district manager, and one of the younger people was put into place as the salon manager, only she started flaking on her duties because she was not in the best mental state, and she decided she could get more money via stripping than she could grooming. I'm not saying that she was not in the best mental state because she decided to strip. I'm saying she was not in the best mental state. In addition to that, she also decided that she wanted to strip instead of groom because she was drinking, going out with dudes that weren't good for her, and she knew they weren't. She would drink and drive. She would stop paying her friend for the place that she was staying at. I actually got her into an apartment at the complex I was at, and she got evicted because she wasn't taking care of her pets, and it was becoming an actual nuisance to her neighbors, as well as her not paying rent still, and on and on and on. So I'm not disparaging people who choose to strip or intersex work. That's not the problem. The problem was everything else going on. And during the entire time, Amy decided that everything was my fault, and she started targeting me. She started lying to the managers about stuff that I was doing, and I would increasingly be ostracized from the majority of the salon, because even though everyone disliked her, they also didn't really like me. I mean, this was the same salon where someone lied and said that I had threatened to shoot up the customers and everything one day. So eventually she chose to leave. And honestly, that's the most damning part, and why I will never go back to a corporate grooming setting, because I constantly was trying to talk to my managers about this, about the complete lack of fucks that Amy gave about me and how she was basically bullying me the entire time. And they wouldn't write her up. They didn't even have me sign paperwork, so And I was stupid, and I didn't really realize what I was doing, and I didn't have the resources that I have today to figure out what was right and wrong. Honestly, if I went through the same situation today, I would be getting everything in writing, documenting everything, making sure I was in a one party consent for videotaping and start videotaping her, all of that stuff. But no, she finally decided to leave, and everyone was so happy. Occasionally, we would see her walk in to get pet food, and that was maybe the funniest thing because she didn't want to be recognized. She'd be wearing like sunglasses and wearing a hat and stuff, but she'd still walk in and get pet food from us when there was a perfectly good PetSmart like across the town, not that far. Because Huntsville's not like Philadelphia. You don't have to drive 20 minutes to go half a mile. But yeah, um, still watching JoJo. I mentioned that earlier. I'm going to probably make a video about it soon because holy shit, everything is wild. I don't know why I've not watched it sooner. But this whole drama with the current lawsuit going on between my friend and this former employer just reminded me of everything about Amy. So I thought I would share a fun little story time for a quiet little day. Right, Nettle? Nettle's still right here. She's literally on top of me. So if my voice has been acting weird or you pick up any weird noises, it's probably her. But yeah, that's it from me today. I hope you guys have a fantastic day and stay hydrated. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.